Hello and welcome to Dinosaur Man News and Reviews. I'm Andy Hughes. I'm here with Alex Hudson.
Solid opening.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Welcome to the podcast.
It's like it gets the job done.
It's what it needs to be.
It's the Dulux of...
I thought you said a different product.
That also gets the job done. But yeah, it's...
99% of the time.
99... Yeah, I think that's correct.
Obviously,
Anyway,
abstinence gets it done better.
How is it that we've talked about dicks 2 weeks in a row on this?
Well, we need to start with an important announcement here today.
Yes, an apology. Yes. You found the tweet that I made 4 years ago. I know. I said the Marvel movies would never be good, and I like some of them now.
I like the fact 4 years ago.
I'm sorry. I lost my job hosting the Oscars because of this.
No, another important announcement. So we need to back.
Is it an apology?
No, it's kind of more of a people should apologise to us.
Yeah, you know what? Go fuck yourselves, people.
So you might have heard in this past week, everyone, that after a Tesla announcement, Bitcoin dropped in price and Dogecoin dropped when Elon Musk went on SNL. ChodeQuest, the cryptocurrency we created 3 years ago, is thriving.
Well, we didn't create it. We were sponsored by it, and we are the official face of ChodeQuest.
ChodeQuest, the greatest cryptocurrency of all time.
Yeah, ChodeQuest is currently riding high. It's a record high of $135,000 per Chode, which is great. And I think a lot of people would overlook it and say, oh, well, it was like a joke currency. And yet Dogecoin was a thing, so...
Yeah, and is it really a joke when I've bought my 5th Lamborghini?
Yeah, and he doesn't even know how to drive them yet.
I don't know how to drive. I'm
Think
literally
about that.
just putting them on my
Think
driveway.
about that, guys. He has 5 Lamborghinis he's never going to drive.
Or bought with the chodiest of ChodeQuest. And they're saying it's going to the
moon. And he plans
on
giving those Hot Wheels figurines to his nephew.
And... as they say, it's going to the moon. So, if you want to be part of the...
can I just say?
Yeah.
Bad way to spoil the fact that next week we're hosting live from the moon.
They had to find out somehow.
You knew that we were doing this.
I got my space outfit and everything.
Yeah, the rocket leaves in 1 hour's time.
But yeah, so get on board and join us on our rocket ship to the moon.
Yeah, make inquiries by tweeting at DinosaurMan15 saying, to Chode or not to Chode? That is the question. Hashtag to Chode.
Anybody tweeting about any cryptocurrency, just tweet underneath hashtag
ChodeQuest.
Picture of a rocket ship, picture of the moon, and put at DinosaurMan15 in it. We will join you on this adventure.
You know what I'm most excited about for ChodeQuest? Is I want to finally find out if it is really made of cheese up there. I think it is.
That's why my first book, A Chode Made of Cheese, will be coming out not long after our first trip.
My first book is called Cheese Dreams Are Made of Cheese.
While we are pivoting ourselves to a crypto podcast soon, for the time being, we are going to be the only podcast that talks news and reviews, specifically movie news and reviews this week. What will we be reviewing?
I've got more nonsense I want to do, but I know you'll be mad with me.
It's never stopped you before.
No, we're going to be reviewing Antebellum, Mortal Kombat 2021.
Mortal Kombat!
And identifying features. You can't keep making me laugh on the podcast.
I'm sorry.
It's not supposed to be a funny podcast. This is serious. Can I say the one thing that I've forgotten now. Oh, no.
So there isn't a review of Love, Death and Robots this week, because I've only watched 2 episodes of it. I'll be kicking that up in 2 weeks' time when I've actually watched it all.
I did remember. You said we're going to be shifting towards a crypto podcast now.
Yep.
Maybe I should call my friend the Crypt Keeper.
Oh, wow. I'm really glad you went back for that one. Like, No Joke Left Behind and all of that. And you went, oh yeah, I can't let this...
Do you want to hear my Crypt Keeper impression?
Oh, I'm sure we would love it.
I think it's good that this is a crypto podcast.
Hi, guys. We apologised once on this podcast already, and I feel it's time for me to apologise once again. As the character of the Crypt Keeper was probably our funniest moment.
Yeah, you know what? He is. And I'm so sad that I didn't invent him in 1982 when Tales from the Crypt debuted, I think. Anyway, look, that's not important. We've got news.
Before we get to the reviews, we have to do movie news.
Oh, you better believe it.
Before we do movie news, we have to go down this little avenue. It's called gaming news.
Oh, and wouldn't you believe it? It's crypto-related.
Oh.
People in the Philippines are earning cryptocurrency during the pandemic by playing a video game.
What video game?
So it's a video game called Axie Infinity.
Never heard of it.
It's created by Sky Mavis. She's friends with Sky Doris and Sky Maureen. It allows players to earn income through non-fungible tokens, or NFTs.
Aren't they really bad for the environment?
Non-fungible tokens?
Yeah, like, apparently crypto is really bad for the environment. But don't hold
What
me
are they
to
making it out of? I thought crypto didn't exist.
It's to do... Right.
Wait, hang on.
So a little aside.
Can I... Right. Two things.
Okay.
Number one, I don't understand what crypto is still. Number two, I don't understand what an NFT is. I know it's almost an NFU, like the National Farmers Union. Is that it?
NFTs, I'll show you a video afterwards, which breaks it down.
Not interested. Tell me now.
So it's all to do with you're buying a
thing that is yours forever.
Yes, but also it's not.
Yeah.
Because you don't have it.
But you own it.
Yeah, but it's not actually yours.
It's an asset.
I'm not an expert.
A tweet is an NFT.
But apparently it costs a lot. Like, it's bad for the environment. It's why Tesla have basically said they're not accepting Bitcoin anymore, because it's not good for the environment.
Are they accepting Dogecoin still?
No, they're only accepting Chode Quest.
Fuck you, Elon. We beat you at your own game.
Chode Quest.
And I made an invisible car.
Is incredibly good for the environment.
And I'm calling my company Wesler.
Okay, so tell me more about this game.
So Chode Quest is a cool game where... wait. This is gaming news. I didn't want to spoil next week's reveal that we've launched a game!
From the moon!
It's a... I don't know, look. It's a fucking thing.
Look, crypto's big right now, guys. And I'm not going to badmouth it because
I know... You didn't even tell me what this game is.
I know, but there's a lot of people out there who are literally, like, scanning the internet for any mention of crypto to, like, damn you if you damn crypto. I've said crypto a lot, but it's starting to just lose all meaning. But, like, if you watch any kind of threads on Twitter or anything like that, if people talking about this stuff, like, they're like rabid dogs. So I am not going to badmouth it. I'm just saying there is a better option out there than your Bitcoins and your Dogecoins and your Ethereum or whatever it is.
Can I say something now?
Yeah.
I know you don't want to badmouth it. I do want to badmouth it.
Oh, no. This is why this podcast will never work.
I hope they come after us.
Get us some traction on those
What are they going to do?
One of them might want to listen.
Throw a Dogecoin at me? Oh, that's really going to hurt me. Oh, wait, it doesn't exist, but maybe it's made out of pure carbon emissions. If it's that bad for the environment.
There's something about them being bad for the environment. I'm not.
Hang on, there's a line here. It says, Axie is its own economy. It might have swings like any other emerging market based on macro factors. Oh, my God.
Do you understand any of this right now?
Yeah, I know what macro factors are. It's like a cash and carry warehouse from the 1990s that pretty much died when Costco invaded the UK, I feel.
Is this a...
Do you remember macro?
No.
You never went to a macro? I think my granddad had a macro card for some reason. I don't know
no idea
why.
What you're talking about right now.
So, you know Costco?
Yeah.
Similar concept in the... But macro is very much more... So it was much more focused on being like a cash and carry, where I feel like a lot of like shops got their stock. Mm-hmm. Like corner shops and news agents and things like that, independent places. Not like Boots didn't buy their deodorant from macro.
Okay.
Anyway, it doesn't fucking matter. Some guy called Zerlin's talking about it here.
Zerlin.
I hate this.
What an internet name.
Right. Can I just say one thing?
Yeah.
I don't like video games at the best of times.
You hate them even more when it's...
I hate them even more when it's cryptocurrency. I still don't understand that.
I've got a friend who wants to make his own cryptocurrency.
Oh my God. Do I know this friend?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. Tell me afterwards.
I'll tell you afterwards.
I'll fucking text him that he's an idiot.
If he does it, I might just buy some just in case it takes off.
But like this is the thing, is that you can't just invent a pound, right? Oh my god, the podcast isn't long enough. Well, most of the time it is long enough to support this conversation.
Park this subject?
I just put the handbrake on now. Okay, fine. Let's move on to actual news.
We'll talk about the stuff that people came here for, I assume. Which is to talk about movie news.
Yes, much like Rihanna, this is what you came for.
That's what they came for. Rihanna references.
Wait
till she hears the podcast. She's going to love it.
So...
What you got for me? Come on.
Yeah? Sorry, you really made me laugh. What did you make me laugh doing yesterday? You really made me laugh at something.
No, you laughed.
I laughed at my very funny
at yourself
song.
reciting the Lord's Prayer.
Yes, it was very good. Okay.
I can tell you, no one else did. There's only one other person in the room. It was me.
I'm still laughing at it now. So, look, this is important. The Untitled Knives Out 2. I mean, I don't know what they're going to call it. Surely Knives Out won't work because it was a specific line of dialogue in the first film. But then again, in Die Hard 2, he doesn't say, looks like I need to die hard too.
Well, I heard a conversation about this the other day. I can't remember who I was listening to, so I can't credit it. But they were like, this is one of those kind of ungainly things that you have to do in cinema to kind of make people see your sequel of just like, Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them, The Crimes of Grindelwald.
Yeah, it's a horrible title.
Yeah, but they had to call it that so that you knew it was his sequel to Fantastic Beasts.
I'd just call it Harry Potter Rip-Off.
Fake Potter.
Wait, not rip-off, spin-off. Rip-off would be not related.
But yeah, Knives Out, whether it has to be Knives Out something.
Knives Out to Electric Boogaloo, everyone's happy.
Or do they go with exactly kind of like what another similar one has done, which is Murder on the Orient Express?
Yes.
The next one isn't called Murder on the Orient Express.
It's Death on the Nile.
Yeah, it's just called Death on the Nile. So
yeah. But it's easier when it's based on existing IP.
But it's whether you believe your audience are smart enough. And I think you probably can.
It says here, Ryan Johnson has said, I think my audience is dumb as shit.
Audience are dummies. But yeah, what about this film anyway?
4 new cast members.
4? I only saw 1.
Catherine Hahn.
Nice.
Dave Bautista. Janelle Monáe.
Okay.
Edward Norton.
It's a good cast. I really like Knives Out, and I think you were a little bit cold.
I'm lukewarm on it. I think it's fine.
But I saw it again when I was down at my parents' last, I think over Christmas, and I still think it's great. Like I had a wild time with it, so I'm really excited to see another one. And it's going straight to the Netflix as well.
This is straight to Netflix. I mean, it'll be in cinemas as well, you would imagine. But yes, it's a Netflix movie. That's the casting news that's come out this week for it, so that's fun. Enola Holmes 2 is going ahead with Millie Bobby Brown and Henry Cavill set to return.
I think we knew it would.
So, yeah, I mean, it had been rumoured that it would, but it's been officially announced this week that the directing and writing team are back. Harry Bradbeer is directing, Jack Thorne's writing the sequel as well.
Yep.
I can't wait to collaborate with my Enola Holmes family again. Enola holds a special place in my heart. She's strong, fearless, intelligent, and brave, said Millie Bobby Brown. I look forward to fans seeing how her journey continues.
And this thing, we watched it and we said, yeah, maybe it wasn't entirely for us. But I do think there is a audience definitely there for it.
Of course.
I'm not surprised it's getting a sequel. Apparently it did incredibly well for Netflix. So it makes sense.
I mean, it's 6 books in total, so
24 films.
Yeah, I guess they'll just make it last as long as they need to. I mean, realistically, they can only make it last a certain length of time because I think there's a time that Millie Bobby Brown then outgrows that character. Unless you do it in like a Harry Potter way where the storyline becomes slightly darker and more adult with time
after
progressing.
dark by the end of it.
Well, just like, I mean, I don't know how old she is, like 14 or whatever, but, you know,
in college.
With like, yeah,
I'm doing pranks.
She goes to like Cambridge University or something and she has to solve like the murder of a lecturer.
There's Enola, she's doing a keg stand.
I don't think they do keg stand. Keg stands are not look. The amount of movies I watch where keg stands were a thing, I've been disappointed that keg stands have not been as much of a thing as they have been in those movies. I'd be bad at them if there were, but...
So you're unhappy that keg stands didn't play a bigger part in your life?
Look, I'm both happy and unhappy, I guess. I'm happy that they didn't, because I would have never done one.
I don't think you would have coped.
No, I'd have been like, could I keg stand water? Anyway, moving on.
So, Enola at college.
Yeah, Enola, the bachelorette years, where she moves to the city on her own or whatever.
Enola in the city.
Yeah, Sex in the City.
But it's
Sex
Enola.
and the City, isn't it? Not Enola. Enola in the City is... What's in the city?
Babe 2, Pig in the City.
Yes, exactly what I was thinking of, actually. Phil Lord and Chris Miller are going to direct the Premonition, a pandemic story, producing with Amy Pascal.
I don't even know what it is, but I don't want it.
So they're directing the film adaptation of The Premonition, a pandemic story, which is a book by New York Times bestselling author and journalist Michael Lewis, not the CEO of Eon. Is that Michael Lewis? Yeah, it is. Anyway, not important. About the early days of COVID-19 and those US heroes who tried to warn against the danger of underestimating the deadly seriousness of the killer virus in a sort of Big Short way, I think.
Okay. I'm going to be straight up and honest. Love Phil Lord and Chris Miller. I think they're great, and I like pretty much everything they do. I do not want this film. Like, there is something about this whole situation that goes, I don't want anything to reference it. I don't want any films about it. I kind of just want to ignore it. Like, I lived through that. Who knows, in like 10 years' time, sure, put your stories out there. But right now, can we just not?
But it's part of, like, it's like ignoring the biggest event in human history of the last 70 years.
Do it for now. Like,
but, like, there were films about World War II being made during World War II.
Yeah, but I kind of just don't... I wasn't in World War II.
Yeah, no shit. You were in COVID instead, and those people had to put up with those films being made immediately afterwards. So...
Hey, just because it happened to them doesn't mean it has to happen to us.
Yeah, it does. We're worse than we were back then.
Oh, we are terrible people.
Like, humanity has never been worse than it is. And possibly never been better than it is. I think it's worse now than it ever has been before.
I think
the internet's the worst thing in the world.
That is probably true.
Yeah.
I think there's a whole conversation to be had about that, but I also think...
Okay, should we park that along with what is cryptocurrency and NFTs?
Can you put that next to the other
Also,
bus?
what if I want it to be fungible?
So that's...
I am, after all, a fun guy.
I'm pretty sure we're going to fill this car park by the end of this episode, and I don't want to ever open
It's turning into a multi-story.
But yeah, I just don't want
You can only pay in Chode Quest, though.
Ooh, that's how they never get their cars back.
So the tone for the project's being described as being similar to All the President's Men. So look, it's a whistleblower film. It's this is a thing that we need to be aware of, and this is. So
I'm thoroughly aware COVID happened.
Yeah, but like,
I don't.
No, I'm saying from their point of view in the film. I'm not saying that you aren't aware that COVID happened. I get that you know that COVID is happening.
You're gonna have a film where the whistleblowers go, "Oh, by the way, guys, this COVID's happening."
But is your issue with it it's too real?
Yes, I kind of want some escapism right now.
You just seen fucking WandaVision and Falcon and the Winter Soldier, shit that never happens.
I'm more excited for Fast and the Furious 9.
Yeah, of course you... Look, they fucking drove us safe around Rio de Janeiro or whatever. Of course you're excited for that movie.
Than I am for a film that tells me something I know happened.
Well, I'm sorry, not everything can be cloudy with a chance of Meatballs 4.
Well, the thing is, a movie,
yeah,
something like The Big Short, it's kind of going, oh, guys, this is a situation that happened, but like, there's a load of people who aren't aware of this situation. Tell me somebody who isn't aware.
Yeah, but this is the story behind the story. This is the story. The people who were trying to warn about the fact that the way that approach was being handled was incorrect and was going to result in lives being lost. I get that you don't. I get that you don't want it.
Yeah,
there's already been movies about it. There's going to be more movies about it.
Trust me, I watched Songbird. I sat through that.
Yeah, well, that's kind of on you. No one told you to watch Songbird.
It wasn't even eligible for the awards.
Yeah, you watched it too late. That's the problem.
It would have won. Should we?
I'm going to buy you this fucking book now. It was published last week. I'm going to buy it for you. Follows 3 central characters, a biochemist, a public health worker, and a federal government employee who work in the White House.
You never believe what's happening.
Jesus Christ. Unbelievable. So your big issue is just like, it happened to me, therefore it's more important that I don't have to listen about it.
No.
That's what you're saying.
It happened to everyone.
Uh-huh.
Like, I don't think there's a person on the planet who is not aware.
Yeah, but everyone was aware that World War II was happening.
Exactly.
And yeah, but your heart's not bleeding for them, is it? No, it's only bleeding for you because now you're involved in this somehow.
Look, this thing is affecting me, so it's more important.
Oh, they say we're getting less self-centered as a society. Jesus Christ.
I thought we were parking this.
Cineworld has concluded a deal with Disney to show the studio's movies. It's Regal chain in the US and the Cineworld cinemas in the UK. Mm-hmm. So this is adding to when we previously reported on their deal with Universal, or maybe it was Warner Brothers, but Universal have now joined that as well then. Yes, Universal have joined as well. So it means that Cineworld cinemas and Regal cinemas in the US will be showing Disney, Universal and Warner Brothers upcoming movies, even if they're on their day and date release schedule on Premier Access or whatever it's called, Disney Plus Premier.
That's good.
So things like Cruella, Black Widow and Jungle Cruise, they'll all be going into cinemas, and which will be sticky. And then so Disney's is going to be sticking to a purely theatrical window for some of its upcoming features, which includes a 45-day period for Free Guy, which started as a 20th Century Studios thing. So things like that, and obviously Shang-Chi's the big one, I suppose, that's going to be coming out in September.
I guess, is this partially because they've already said Black Widow is going to be on their premium service, so they're not going to take that away from the premium service now, because...
So it's the way they approached Mulan, where they'd announced that Mulan was going to be on the $30 thing, and then also in cinemas. So clearly it's a way to try and, look like they're saving the theatrical exhibition experience by making a play that's purely, I think, self-centered, but hey, whatever. But it's good news. It means there's going to be stuff, filling the... I mean, we're about to see the reopening of cinemas this week in the UK, and, I mean... The fact of the matter is, the bigger studio stuff, the franchise stuff, is the stuff that is already dominating that release schedule for the next few weeks. Peter Rabbit 2 is getting 6 or 7 showings a day.
Finally getting released.
And, that's fine, I guess, because
isn't that
they've got to fill those cinemas somehow.
Isn't Peter Rabbit 2 the longest time between original release date and actually coming out?
No, it'll be Quiet Place Part 2.
Because
Peter Rabbit was due in April last year.
Oh, Quiet Place 2 isn't out yet, is it?
Quiet Place 2 was due out at the beginning of April last year, or end of March, I think it was. And then that will be out in June, I believe. Anyway, so, it's a good sign. Cineworld and Sony and Paramount are also having talks at the moment, so... It could well be that they reach deals with the 5 major studios there. Trailers. I think that's it.
Yeah.
Unless you do want to talk about the Marvel sizzle reel thing that I didn't think was worth talking about.
Some stuff got dates, some stuff got titles. It's basically...
What a way to...
So Black Panther's going to be called Wakanda Forever, which will be interesting to kind of see how that pivots from being... maybe a Black Panther movie to be more about Wakanda as a nation, and who they kind of push to the focus of that. Captain Marvel 2 is called The Marvels, I believe, which is more kind of credence to the fact that it's going to be Captain Marvel, Ms. Marvel, and Photon, who we found in WandaVision. Looking at the way the title card is as well. There's still some that aren't on the schedule. So I think Fantastic Four wasn't on the schedule, but it just said will be coming. Potential Captain America 4, maybe.
Yeah.
We don't have a time frame for, but a lot of it we kind of knew was coming, and those were the main ones that had anything kind of change.
Yeah, I agree.
There you go. I found something to talk about.
Cool. Trailers. So let's talk about them.
Notice the theme song has been lacking with the trailers now.
Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. It doesn't matter.
Self-confidence has
It doesn't matter.
eroded like a wild river.
I'm parking it in
soft rock.
I'm parking it in that multi-story right now.
I didn't realise it was in there.
Top floor of the multi-story. The Forever Purge. This looks dumb, doesn't it?
Oh, we're going to have so much fun.
So, the Purge series has sort of become our go-to really dumb movie thing, and we've done episodes on it in the past, and they've been a lot of fun, and we've enjoyed it. It is very much a series that is, way dumber than it thinks it is, and that's probably the most enjoyable part of it.
It's smart. Like, it thinks it's the smartest guy in the room.
I think maybe the first one thought that, and then the other ones definitely have had, like, Purge election year had a very clear idea of exactly how stupid it was. First Purge was worse than Purge election year, for sure.
First Purge thought it had a message.
Yeah.
You remember it thought that it was being political and had a message when it was saying nothing.
But the Forever Purge, from the look of the trailer, it is more of the same.
So this seems to be, the Purge has ended, everyone's like, oh, the Purge is done, and then all the Purges go, yeah, but what if we just purged all the time instead?
They just should have called it Purge Boxing Day. Because it's like, the end of the Purge happens, and then the film then commences from the end of the Purge, and is like, but we're going to still commit crime. So the one thing the Purge did, it actually didn't do. Cool.
And people seem to be trying to escape to Mexico to get safe.
Yeah.
And it almost seems like they're going, okay, well, America's just a garbage fire now. Let's just let them
What
fight.
if the roles were reversed in the border crisis?
It's so smart. It's the smartest series of films that we don't give credit.
Yeah, exactly.
No Frank Grillo, though, again, which is a shame.
Well, he wasn't in the last one either, was he?
No.
He was in 2 and 3, and...
But then don't forget, the last one was a prequel, so now it's a sequel.
Yes, okay. But then again, I don't know if we actually know what the... I don't know if we know what the time frame is here. This could be the first Purge. You never know. And we just didn't hear about it ever happening.
This could be a documentary.
A lot of... as is the case with any sort of long-running horror series... the Purge has basically retconned itself into oblivion, where a lot of things have happened where you're going, I actually don't think that matches up with what we know from the other films, but it doesn't really matter,
But like you said, it's our go-to...
That guy from Fast and Furious was dead and now he's back, so I guess that's fine. You can do it in any series.
It's our go-to dumb film, and I am looking forward to it. I never saw the TV series, though, did you?
No. It's still available for us. We could always watch it.
I think it's like 2 series of it now.
Who knows? I would have cancelled it, I imagine, after 1. Venom, Let There Be Carnage, had a trailer last week. So this is the sequel to 2018's Venom?
Maybe.
Feel like that's right. So returning cast members Tom Hardy and...
Michelle
Williams. And, of course, Venom playing himself. And, of course, Woody Harrelson minus the curls.
Yeah, I don't like the fact that they got rid of his stupid hair.
But I think as a post-credit sequence, the hair perfectly suited a post-credit sequence. Now they went, we have to take this seriously because the whole film is about him.
He's going to be in the film.
So we've got to make sure that we don't have people snickering every time he's on screen. He's supposed to be our main antagonist.
Yeah. But it's a shame because the hair did look stupid.
Sure. I don't think anyone's debating that.
So Carnage is basically a symbiote like...
Red Venom.
Like Venom, but he's basically more rage-filled and he kind of gets himself onto Cletus Cassidy. Is it Cletus Cassidy?
Yeah, Cletus Cassidy, who was already a murderer beforehand.
Yeah.
That's the difference. And Eddie Brock is an anti-hero. This is very much a villain.
The trailer looks stupid.
It looks like the first half of it looked like it's gone balls to the wall screwball comedy.
When it's like, oh, here's Venom just cooking you breakfast.
And if the whole film was that, I'm fine with that. I'm 100% on board.
What about the bit where he says he's going to eat the shopkeeper?
I love it. I think he might eat the shopkeeper, but I don't think he will. I feel like
there's so much of this film set in that shop.
I kind of hope that the whole thing is set in his apartment in the shop, and then we get one scene at the end where he goes, "And now I'm Carnage."
I'm very interested to see kind of what it looks like, because obviously we all know I'm allowed to go watch Venom 2.
Yeah, you've actually been banned from that, as we know. Yeah, I mean, Stephen Graham's in this, and I feel like there's going to be some sort of well-respected British actor in all of these movies now. So whoever is the Stephen Graham of 3 years ago now is going to be who's going to be in the new one in 3 years' time.
But yeah, it's probably just going to be...
So probably someone who plays like fourth lead in Peaky Blinders is going to become some grizzled detective in Venom 3. Let there be carnage and more for me.
The interesting thing about Stephen Graham is he's reading the Daily Bugle, which is the same one from the Raimi trilogy.
Yes.
So even though we know that Morbius is apparently in the MCU universe because Michael Keaton's in it, but you also know the Spider-Man are
But Michael Keaton is obviously playing Batman in that movie, as we know.
Yeah, it's... The timeline about these films are going to get very messy, and I don't really know what's going to happen.
I don't really understand when things are set anyway. Like, I think the MCU's in 2025, but maybe not.
I don't know. I think it technically might be to date. I don't know.
Okay, well, either way, a lot of fun with numbers, guys. A lot of fun with dates we can have. Naomi Harris is also in this film, which I forgot about until I just looked at the Wikipedia page. Yes, we reported on her previously. But, you know, hey, it's Andy Serkis. He can cast who he wants. So that is out in September 2024. Sorry.
2024?
Wow. September 24th, 2021 is what I meant to say.
Can't wait to see it.
Yeah, I will report on that for both of us, seeing as you are banned from seeing it.
I'm going to sneak in. You're going to be sat next to a guy in a giant trench coat and hat and glass the whole time. You'll be like, well, is that guy not really warm? And at the end, I'm just going to slowly remove it and be like, it was me the whole time.
Cool. And that will be your symbiote moment.
Yes.
You'll latch on to me.
Like, I'm wearing nothing under the trench coat because I'm really, wherever in the cinema, it's very hot wearing a trench coat for an entire movie.
So, Green Knight also had a trailer, but we won't talk about that because that's only a film that I'm only interested in.
I've seen it.
Will you?
I've seen the trailer.
Okay.
Looks good.
Yeah.
I'm confused, though.
Uh-huh.
So, basically, there's a lot of buzz around this film. Like, a lot of people are really excited for it. And, like, I've never heard of the story of the Green Knight, but I believe it's a medieval story.
Yeah.
Or I can say medieval song.
Yeah, it's like a tale, a poem. Well, it's between a poem and a ballad and things like that.
And is it because of Dev Patel, who people really like? It looks pretty stylish, and the director is
David Lowery,
who did
Ghost Story, Pete's Dragon,
and people are excited because it's him. Is that
the old man and the gun?
Is he a man or a gun?
Not is he a man? No,
is he
he's
a man or
man.
is he a gun? So there's a genuine question for you. Why do you think people are like? Because I've heard of
A24. People lose their mind over A24 productions.
Okay.
I mean, David Lowery's a really acclaimed director. Dev Patel's very good in everything. And I think that might be... I mean, I think it's buzzy within the cineast. I don't think it's buzzy outside. Like, I don't think to a mainstream audience this film is going to be buzzy.
And it may be the fact that I'm seeing kind of like movie Twitter or in Facebook groups that I'm in that are about movies, people are talking about it quite excitedly. And it's just one of those things I'm like, I wonder if there is a reason why that is.
Well, it was on my most anticipated for last year, and obviously, here we are. But yeah, I'm looking forward to it still.
I'll maybe watch it.
Okay.
Never make any promises, because then I can't break them.
Right. Film reviews. Should we do one?
I think we should.
Antebellum is a thriller.
Uh-huh.
That's how it's characterized, and I will be going by how they characterize it.
Okay.
So it's a thriller written and directed by Gerard Bush and Christopher Wren's in feature directorial debuts, starring Janelle Monáe as our lead character, Veronica Henley, who is a... Now, how to describe the film without trying to do any plot spoilers?
I know you don't want to do plot spoilers, but they're all in the trailer.
Yeah, this is what I was thinking, is if you've seen the trailer, you kind of know what the setup is, but if you haven't seen the trailer...
The film definitely tries to save it. It's a
the
twist.
film will try and the film will wrongfoot you if you've not seen anything about it, because... But if you've seen literally any of the marketing, it won't. So let's go with this then. Victoria Henley, who's a sort of acclaimed writer who writes about social issues and about racial history and racial inequality, who is...
finds herself...
Yeah, I mean... How to describe...
She finds herself on a plantation.
Yeah.
Like, basically, and she is... under the thumb of the white leadership of that plantation.
Yes.
And how does she survive and how does she escape the kind of grip that plantation has over her and others there?
Yeah.
I suppose.
Not much else. Not much else.
Yeah, it has a core twist to it, but it is...
Yeah, if you've seen the trailer, the twist isn't a twist because the thing is given away in the trailer.
But it is a thing, if you don't know anything about this, then the twist will get you. Like, yeah. So, do you want to talk about it?
Look, films are difficult to make, guys. And everyone works really hard, I'm sure. And, there is something to be said that these people have had an idea to write a film and direct a film, and they've written that film and directed that film. I think it's woefully misguided. But they made it.
We spoke earlier about The Purge and films that think they are smarter than they are.
Yeah.
And this is a film that I kind of put in that category. Now, I read up a bit about the directors and about kind of what they think about the films and their kind of attitude towards certain things that are in the film. And I genuinely don't think they went into this film without a message. I think everything they did for a reason. But like you say, a lot of it is misguided. So the first 30 to 40 minutes of this film is on this plantation, and it is a lot of violence.
Yeah.
Violence from the white owners of the plantation towards the black slaves that they have there. But it is violence without a meaning.
Yeah.
And it is violence for the sake of violence. Almost as if to go, oh, look, this is what violence was. But there is no real message behind it, and I feel there is no real kind of meaning or nuance about it.
Yeah.
And the problem is, then it becomes something that you're like, but what is the purpose of this? And it's a long time that you were experiencing this. And I've read what they've said about it, and and I think some people do get the kind of idea of what the directors were going for with this. Them trying to show it and their reasons they're trying to do it, but I don't think it works with what they were trying to do, works in what they put across.
Yeah.
I then think that the twist and everything that happens after that is not really that entertaining.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't feel executed well in terms of doing that switch up. And I think I described it as being dropped into a Twilight Zone episode with absolutely no context and just being told, well, there you are, that's it. And also, it's a bad Twilight Zone episode, which is obviously not great when your first 40 minutes are that. And then you're expected to just kind of go, oh, okay. And then I'm now supposed to roll with the rest of this film. But you've set me up by kind of reveling in the pornography of slavery, which is very strange. And
it advertises itself, in all the trailer stuff, it advertises itself as, from the producers of Get Out and Us, because it's the same company that kind of helped produce those.
Sean McKittrick is he's the producer who is shared with this film.
And
but let it not be said that this is not a film that is Get Out or
This
Us.
is what I was going to say. It wears that as a badge of honour, but has none of the subtlety or the depth of explanation that those films have. Like, those films understand how to weave a narrative that really makes you understand the subjugation of race.
Yeah.
That I think this film doesn't. And it does then come across that especially that first 40 minutes, is almost gleefully played. And I know this isn't their intention. And I know it isn't because I've read what they have to say. And I know they don't, but it is almost gleefully played as, let's have our little kind of play of this is what it was like.
Yeah.
And it's uncomfortable because I feel it has no message.
Yeah.
And I think that probably about the whole film. I don't think it's as smart as it wants to be. And that's not for fault of what you were trying to do, but what you were trying to do just doesn't land.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think
that's probably the fairest representation of it. You know, I don't think it was ever made with bad intentions. It's just a shame that none of the good intentions were able to be carried out as they were intended, I think.
One thing I will say, as a positive, is these guys are first-time directors.
Yeah.
And some of the shots they have are really nice. I think some of the editing's a bit weird, but kind of, as first-time directors, you know, it's a well-constructed, visually film.
Yeah.
And, you know, you have to give credit, like, where it's due, you know, as a first feature, like, these guys have probably got something to offer. Mm-hmm. Like, I feel that basically I've been quite negative about it. I'll throw in a bone.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, I would not recommend, but, you know, you make a good point in terms of this isn't to damn them as being, you know, bad at this. It's just a case of it was executed badly, but, you know, I'd be happy to see what they do next.
Yeah.
And hopefully it's something where, you know, they can realise the promise of a premise, basically. Right, I'll do identifying features next, and we'll finish with Mortal Kombat.
Mortal Kombat!
So, identifying features, this is directed and, I believe, written by, let me just double check, by Fernanda Valadez, and tells the story of a woman who travels across Mexico in order to search for her son, who left to go over the border to the US to find work, and the person he left with has now turned up dead, and there's no sign of her son. This is one of my favourite films of the year. I think it's a really beautiful yet heart-wrenching and at times a sort of devastating look at what various people do to survive in certain parts of the world, and what various people do in order to try and support their families, and what happens when the best intentions start out as being a very positive thing and then end up being horrifying and quite inhumane to process. It's a film that isn't afraid to show you that, you know, there are always multiple sides to every story, and that someone can set out from their life in order to try and provide a better life for the ones they're leaving behind, and yet find themselves fighting against a system that doesn't allow that to happen.
Okay.
I think it's really, really well executed. There are I think the cinematography is beautiful. The writing's really strong. The score is really nice. And it does feel like a film that, I don't know. I mean, I feel like it's a film that's got a lot of complexity in terms of the way it's approaching the conversation of immigration, and the way it's approaching the conversation of what happens to the people who do make it across and what happens to the ones who can't. Mm-hmm. And that's really interesting. So sort of this woman's path then intertwines with a young boy who she meets while still searching for her son, who has gone through an experience where he's gone into the US and has now been deported. And there are similarities between her son and this young boy, and there are things that they discover along the way that sort of bond them together. There is some beautiful imagery in this, and I think there is some really sort of horror-themed out, sort of stuff that comes in towards the end, which is really, I think, really, really well executed, and I think it works perfectly. It's a film that I've not really stopped thinking about since I watched it about a week ago now. So, for that reason alone, it's in that sort of top end of my films of the year so far. It's on, I think it's on BFI Player, which is where I watched it. So it's available for you to watch at home now. Spanish language, I'll tell you that now. So if that's a turn off for you, then you're fair warned. But I think it's one of the best pieces of cinema I've seen in a long time.
What was that one called again?
Identifying Features. Moving on. Okay. Would recommend, of course.
I kind of got that.
Mortal Kombat. So, this is the 2021 Mortal Kombat. You want to do it?
Mortal Kombat!
Good. Directed by Simon McQuoid and screenplay by Greg Russo and Dave Callahan, and produced by James Wan, amongst others. This is the story of combat that is mortal.
What?
Is it? Not really.
They never get to Mortal Kombat. Spoiler,
I'll tell you now, the combat is mortal, but the combat is also not part of a tournament. We know that.
It never gets there.
There's an ancient tournament as old as time, but guess what? We don't need to see that, because there's other things we need to care about, which are characters.
The guys from Otherworld, is it? Or Elseworld?
Outworld. They have defeated Earthrealm in 9 of 10 tournaments known as Mortal Kombat.
If they do it a 10th time, they get to enslave the entire of humanity.
Bad rules. Who wrote those?
Also, my favourite thing about that rule is it is slipped into the film so subtly with no kind of... Like, somebody just goes, oh yeah, when it 10th time we get humanity. Cool, let's carry on.
Yeah, let's eat more of our dinner now.
But the Outworld guys are cheating, and they're trying to take out the human opponents before the combat has even started. And it's up to the guys who have these dragon markings to get themselves ready, including all your favourites from the games, and new guy Cole Young is his name.
Oh, is he not from the game?
No, he was created for this.
So, former professional MMA fighter Cole Young is recruited by Jax and Sonya Blade.
From the game.
They're from the game. I know that because I played it one time. So it's important to know, if you aren't aware, this is a video game adaptation. Yeah. Sorry, I probably should have mentioned this.
If you've never played Mortal Kombat, there's a lot of stuff in here that I think is for fans.
Oh, yeah. I'd say the entire running time of this movie. All 110 minutes of it.
There are moments in this film that I really like.
Okay, right? I'm so glad for you.
So there are moments where I'm like, okay, that was cool.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a few moments where it's like, oh, we wink to camera and we're like,
uh-huh.
Oh yeah, that's from the game.
Yeah,
and it's obviously just like, that is from the game, right? But there's so many moments I'm just frustrated by. Where I'm just like, I wish that this was something completely different. Because I think using what they've got here, this whole idea of these humans who are all kind of for this tournament, and how they get brought into one place, and then they have these fights. There's something there that could have been a really interesting film if they had done more with it. And I think the problem is you've got these people who've all got these kind of basic, for want of a better word, superpowers. And the film is about them learning how to get their superpower, which is basically their finishing move in the game. Because you've got them fighting one-on-one, and they can only ever really use their superpowers when they are finishing people off. Actually, there's something more interesting if you have it where you have them going through waves of just normal people. And it means you can then do more interesting stuff with each individual person. You get to see more about them and what they can actually do. And it allows you to kind of allows this stuff to flourish. One thing I was excited about for this movie was it looked like they were going to have proper people who were involved in martial arts and involved in kind of different fighting styles, doing really interesting and different styles. And it offered that up at the start, because there's a bit with Scorpion right at the beginning, which is like the 10 minutes they released online, which I think there is stuff between him and Sub-Zero at the beginning that's quite interesting, and it's a bit different. And I was like, okay, if the whole film's like this, actually it could be kind of fun. But then it just doesn't do that at all. And it's not really exciting at times. Like, it's fairly standard. The dialogue is very schlocky. There's a couple of moments that I like. There's a couple of moments of dialogue. There's one line in this film that I love, because it's the most extra line I've seen in a movie in a long time. But it is also very bad dialogue. But I kind of love it despite that. And I think it doesn't really ever get to that point again until towards the end. There's a bit in the trailer you see Scorpion and Sub-Zero. And that fight, they're kind of inventive about what Sub-Zero can do with his powers that you once again you see in the trailers. The stuff that Scorpion does, there's some interesting stuff there. But there's also some absolute nonsense. And I'm like, I really wish you had just done something different. Because I think you've got the basis of a film that works, but just doesn't work because you don't go all in. And instead you do a way of going, oh, how do we get it so that at the end there's just like 5 one-on-one fights that we'll just skip our way through, and then we'll have Sub-Zero and Scorpion fight. And it seems like a rush job. What do you think anyway? Like,
this is one of the worst films I've seen in a long time. I really didn't like this, and I think the problem is the expectation going in was, okay, whatever, it's going to be a video game adaptation and whatever, but so much was made of the fact that, oh no, it's got people who know what they're doing and people who've got experience in... The problem is your director is someone who's directed commercials pretty much exclusively throughout their career, and I think doesn't have any idea of how to choreograph it. But certainly, whoever the fight choreographers are must be furious that if they actually put in any work, it was chopped to shit in the edit, because you are getting cuts every 2 seconds in every single fight, maybe barring the first 7 minutes.
Yeah.
But after that first 7 minutes, there is nothing in this that feels anywhere near even averagely done.
So, Anthony McCormack from Talking Review, speaking to him about this, and his point was, the best part of this film is the first 10 minutes. He's like, and it doesn't surprise me, they put that out for free to get people through the door, because that first 10 sounds like a completely different film to what you get for the rest of it.
Yeah. I think, the script is awful and clunking. I think the performances are pretty much maybe the odd exception. I mean, I was going to give Josh Lawson a pass, but maybe that's the only one that has anything to
Zach
it.
Chano, yeah.
Yeah.
He's definitely the best of them.
Yeah, but I mean, you're looking at wooden performances from everyone else. The plot is explained to you every 5 minutes and then done away with. Like, it's explained in the most basic way, where it's just like, oh, okay, well, this is the setup, this is what we're going to have to do, and this is how we're going to have to do it. And everyone just goes, oh, okay, I guess this is what we have to do now.
Also,
oh, you're very laissez-faire about the fact that other worlds exist and aliens exist.
And also the fact that, like, this is the one that if you lose, we lose everything. And it's the case of, basically, they just end up at Raiden's place, right? It's almost by accident they end up there. And you're there going, surely, if you're going to lose this one, then it's like, oh, we lose everything, you would probably be more proactive in getting these people to training.
Yeah, you would have tried to plan ahead of time.
Like, Raiden is just absolutely piss poor as an organizer for, like, Earthrealm's probably lost 9 times because Raiden is bad. He is bad at his job.
I don't know. It'll probably get a sequel.
They look like...
They want a sequel, I'll tell you that.
In terms of how they look in regards to what their kind of video game counterparts look like, I think that is done well. Like, they managed to make them look like they're people.
I mean, I know Scorpion and I know Sub-Zero, so I'll take your word for it for the rest of them.
Jax is a guy with big metal arms.
Didn't know that, was surprised when he got them.
But I think most of them look pretty...
Can I just say also, this film feels like it was made in the 90s.
Yeah, but the problem is, and I don't know if it's...
But not in a good way.
I don't know if this is just me looking back kind of like through rose-tinted glasses. Like, the one that was made in the 90s...
Better than this.
A whole lot more fun.
I would rather watch Paul W.S. Anderson's version of this movie. He already made it in 1995 or whatever.
And yeah, for me, it's one of those where I'm like, I can see almost like the bones of something that could work here. And this happens to me every so often when I watch a film. And it's few and far between, but like, I'll watch it and immediately afterwards be like, oh, I really want to just write a different version of this. Using what I know from that film, I want to write something different that could work and be really interesting. And like, it keeps coming into my head of just like different things I would do. And I'm almost script writing my own version of this. And it only ever happens when it's a film that I'm like, God, I really wish this was better. I really wish this was better because I think there's something there that is. And that's kind of my feeling towards this. I think there are moments I had fun with, but those moments are few and far between.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think probably it'll be a that'll do pig at most, but it's maybe I wouldn't recommend, but there are moments for it.
I would say that the one moment that was a redeeming factor was the fact that, I mean, they waited. They really fucking held out on it and fucking tickled my balls for ages on it. They did manage to get in Mortal Kombat, but they took it until the end of the movie. And I'm telling you this now, if you are only watching this film, much as I kind of was, to hear that...
To hear someone shout, no, Mortal Kombat!
Yeah, the best bit of any Mortal Kombat thing. Yeah, you're going to wait. You're going to wait a full 110 minutes before you hear that.
The person who created that original theme song didn't need to go that hard.
Yeah, but I'm glad they did. And the thing is, that's the most enjoyable part of this film for me, and then they ruin it immediately afterwards by making it a dubstep version, which no one really asked for. Would not recommend all day long.
I think this film potentially could work in one setting, which is if you have a bunch of friends around and you're not really watching a film, but you're just getting drunk and you want a film on in the background that you could all just kind of laugh a little bit at and kind of take the piss out of a little bit. And I think it could work there. But also, I don't know. Maybe it's just the fact that...
But I think that the W.S. Anderson version is better for that.
Probably, yeah. Cause...
Okay, can I say, if we're having this weird COVID super spreader party that you're planning... there,
I've heard there's a film by Phil Lord and Chris Miller is going to tell me all about it.
Can I vote to have my back towards the TV?
Sure.
I wanted to see this. I still would not recommend.
Yeah.
But hey, this is why this podcast works. Sometimes, this film comes out.
I don't think I'm even sure about my...
No, you've given it a tentative that'll do, pig.
Actually, let's get a... would recommend top film of the year. Might have one film.
You know what? I hope it is. Because I really want to have that debate with you at the end of the year.
Has Paul seen this yet?
No, and I've discouraged him from doing so.
I'm going to make it my number one just so he has to watch it.
I mean, we still have to watch Thunder Force, so, okay, well, that's going to be it for this week. As always, guys, you can find us on Facebook and on Twitter. Twitter, we're at DinosaurMan15. You can find us wherever you get your podcasts. As you're listening to us now, you should have found us.
Dinosaur Man Pod on Twitch.
At Dinosaur Man Pod on Twitch. Andy has been snapping. Pokemon snapping, and you did something else on there, maybe?
I played Rain after our episode last week, with Matt McGowan. I played Rain on Your Parade,
yes.
About the little cloud that ruins people's days.
And have you completed that now?
Yeah, I did it all.
Okay. So that'll still be up there for a week or something.
Yeah, right? I think the videos hang around on there if you want to watch them.
As always, Johnny Neves did the theme song. This time he said little Mortal Kombat. Andy, you've been the host. Thank you very much for hosting.
Thank you, Alex, for also hosting.
You're welcome very
Until
much.
Next time, guys.
Just if you know you've got a good bit in it, and it's the bit where you go, ever to Mortal Kombat, think about maybe putting that in at the start so people get really excited for what they're about to see. I think I would have been in a much happier mind frame if after the initial fight between Scorpion and Sub-Zero, they'd have done Mortal Kombat.
What if they had done it every 5 minutes? They just thrown it
Oh, yeah, like a little interval. Well, it would have just perked up my viewing. Yeah.
Or every time somebody says the words Mortal Kombat, they say it as, Mortal Kombat!
Or, no, better, dubbed over.
The original
So
guy.
you can see that they're just saying the word Mortal Kombat like that.
Yeah.
Like, very basic, flat delivery. But as they say Mortal Kombat, they hear, or you as an audience member hear, Mortal Kombat! that every time that they say it.
Love it.
Okay, well, there you are. There's your pitch for the sequel.
You need to go back in this podcast and edit every time you said Mortal Kombat to have that.
No editing. Okay, see you next week, guys. Bye.